Welcome to Darren and Sterling here on ESPN Kansas City, 94.5 FM, 1510 AM, with you live in studio, myself, along with the one and only Sterling Holmes. Sterling, forgot to tell you how nice your haircut looked yesterday. So I know this is the second one of 2020.
It is.
I appreciate you, looking good for the audience.
First since March.
First since March. Okay, now we got a little reverb going on back there, so I don't. With us in the studio as well is the sports director from Union Broadcasting, otherwise known as Sports Radio 810 WHB, Mr. Todd Leabo. Leabo, how you doing?
I'm good. The sun is shining.
It is.
It's cold outside. But we've had some dreary days around here. Anytime the sun's out, I'm down, man.
A little house cleaning to get out the way. We will be off tomorrow.
As of right now.
You
never know, right?
Unless there's some more positive tests coming out between tonight and tomorrow, we'll be off tomorrow for the Baltimore Ravens Pittsburgh Steelers game.
From last Thursday.
That was
6 days ago game. I guess it's really 7 days ago. It's supposed to be Thursday. Now it's Wednesday. Yeah, that's 7 days. Yeah. They're just trying to get these guys back to their stuff to get practicing for the next game. That's pretty much what they're doing.
Yeah, and then of course there'll be some more moving parts. I don't even know how the schedule's going to be next week.
It looks like right now there is going to be another Tuesday game, I think.
Yeah, Dallas Cowboys.
And the Ravens. The Ravens are going to be your Tuesday, Wednesday deal.
And the Pittsburgh is going to be Monday afternoon.
Games on Monday.
Yeah.
So, hey, man, more football, right?
I can't argue with that. Do want to
it's not more football. It's just football spread out.
Which is fine. I was expecting to watch some Tuesday night football, but now I got to figure out now tomorrow I can stay at home and watch.
Afternoon football.
Yeah, I wasn't really expecting that though. But
I think this has got to be the first Wednesday afternoon game. I mean, the Chiefs played that Tuesday 4:00 game. I don't know if there's been a Wednesday afternoon game before.
No, I thought they played a Monday 4:00 game. It was Monday.
It was Monday. There's been another Tuesday game though. Didn't someone else play on Tuesday?
Well, Tuesday was the Buffalo Bills and the Tennessee Titans.
Yes, that was Tuesday.
Yeah. Now the Wednesday you're thinking about was back in 2012 when the Dallas Cowboys kicked off the season. And they did it on Wednesday night to not go up against President Obama's.
Right. But they haven't had a Wednesday 2:40 game ever.
That is correct.
But this is 2020, man. We do it all.
And here's the thing: NBC was had no problem with bumping the tree lighting to one of their secondary channels, but the NFL didn't ask for it. They just
they just want to get the game in. It's what they're trying to do. It. They want to get this game is in Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
They want to get the Ravens home.
But I still don't know why you don't do it at night, though.
They want to get they want these players to be able to go home. It's just like whatever, man. They're just trying to get this thing in. They're going to have less people watching Tuesday afternoon than they were going to have on Thanksgiving night. Thanksgiving night was going to be monster, and it's just all things are out the window just to try to get games played right now.
That being said, though, let's look at last night's game. So I know you worked in the Philadelphia market. Seahawks, Eagles, 23-17. Now, I do a little gambling. I don't think that's no secret. Fortunately, I did not
play the game.
I didn't do anything last night because the Raiders knocked out all my parlays over the weekend. So I just sat last night out. That's what I was gonna.
Did someone really bet $500,000?
Yes.
I guess it's out there.
Yes.
If you bet $500,000, you have a lot of money. But that's got to hurt.
Depending on
the way it happened.
I don't know, because if you're Michael Jordan, he's bet lots of money.
Michael Jordan doesn't want to lose $10.
That part is true. That is very much true.
If you lose $500,000 on a Hail Mary and a 2-point conversion that was useless, just going analytics on the 2-point conversion, like there's a whole other bit of game left. That's most. What do you think percentage of coaches are that go for 2 in that situation to get to down 6?
It's
a 30% maybe coach.
He doesn't do that. He doesn't do the math right. Bruce Arians, Harborough, Peterson. Maybe Tomlin was doing some of this stuff. I don't know. Maybe McVay. Yeah, there's not many that go for Vrabel may, but there's not many that go for 2 in that situation. They did because it doesn't really make sense. They've calculated something out to where if score you can just win the game and that's better than going for 2, whatever. Have they calculated the quarterback? There's 12 seconds to go. The at that point, all that was covering for the Philly gamblers. Now, at this point, most of the Philly gamblers probably bet against their team, so they can't be happy either.
Well, here's what I learned from being out in Vegas. Do not take your team, especially if you expect them to win, by a wide margin, even if it is 8 points. Now, I expect Kansas City to beat teams by 8 or more, and I expect them to beat the Raiders by more than 8 points last week. That was a very expensive lesson.
They had a tough 3 weeks on covering the spread.
Oh yeah, and I let them know about that last week as well.
Yeah.
Hey,
by the way, you didn't cover the spread for me. Tell me about this play.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I get a text from the Chiefs PR. Hey, Darren, safe trip back. We're sorry about not covering the spread. Yeah, you should be. And then of course Sunday.
BG? Was it BG?
It was BG. But hold on, but he was crazy. Now they average 32 points a game. Am I right? That's what they lead the league. So so you think the easy bet to get
is the over?
No, well, just over 30 points. Of course, first quarter you're thinking 17-0,
500 yards of offense,
and so now I'm feeling a certain kind of way because of course I'm on Facebook. I'm not trying to reveal my hand or anything. Just I'm just trying to be objective, and so I'm like, why is this game even this close? You get 359 yards of passing in the first half, 104, 103 the second half. Come on,
that Black Pearl play killed you. Should have been 4, not 3.
It did
4 more. That would have.
Well, no, they should have gone for it in 4th and inches.
Well, they should have just got the play right.
Are you talking about the Travis Kelce?
Yes, he should have just run it in. Then you got 31 points.
He had about 60 pounds on the defensive back.
He wasn't even maybe going to get touched by the guy.
I think it was more or less.
The dude standing on the goal line, Travis just a little shake in the leg. He walks in.
He wanted it to be fun. He wanted to get cute.
Patrick said it was his fault.
Yeah, Patrick wanted to catch the touchdown.
But it's like I said, the Chiefs are starting to get too cute by half, and that's
getting in your pocket. Now Darren's mad.
Well, look, it's getting him a pocket, but it's more expensive than that. And this is what I was talking about with Steve last night, is the fact that, and I had this conversation with Sterling, that we saw up close 2018, Leabo. We saw how explosive that offense was. We saw what they did, but we also saw the defense slacking. And granted, it was Bob Sutton, and we didn't have the plays we have now. But we know that if you think that this team is the same as last year's team, is not. This team cannot afford to fall behind 24-0 against any team in the playoffs this year and think that they're going to come back and win a game. It's just the defense is not playing at the same level that they were last year.
Yeah, and I don't think that was not a miracle, but nobody wants to fall down 24 points. You don't want to do that. That's bad business trying to do that, and it worked for them last year, but you don't want to do that again.
Right.
You don't want to get in that way with it. The defense there, I'm getting more concerned by the week about this. And I know they've got their, nerd stats about pressures and stuff like that, but I want to see sacks, not just pressures, because they got 1 sack, and it wasn't a superstar stack with a bunch of high dollar players. You'll take them all, but Okafor and Dana and Wharton just falling on him. That's the only sack you got. Frank Clark touched the quarterback twice, got a personal foul both times.
And that's the problem that I keep telling people that like the defense, they're not living up to what they should have been doing. And granted, yes, take last year out because last year's last year. But I'm talking about what have you done for me lately? Like, what are you doing?
Well, the disappointing part was all of Kansas City got to sit there and watch the Raiders game before the Chiefs game, and the Falcons made Derek Carr fumble 3 times.
Josh
just touched him
as well.
Yeah. And Jacobs. And they had a pick 6. And the Chiefs didn't do anything against the Raiders defensively. So that's what disappoints you, because the Falcons are not a good team. And so the Chiefs just watch. Now, the Raiders' psyche may have been broken. The Chiefs have broken teams before, okay? It's happened. We've seen it over the last 3 years. I think they broke the Jaguars. That franchise is a mess. And they'll beat someone, and they just don't ever recover. And the Raiders, that was a devastating loss for them at home. So maybe, they're flying back across the country. We're playing the crappy Falcons. It's going to be okay. They look sluggish. They look dead. And maybe that's hangover from the Chiefs game. But we know Derek Carr will give you the ball, but you have to go touch him.
Pressures.
And they got near him once at home against against them, and got an interception. And then they got a 1-yard sack. Then they didn't sniff him in Vegas, and they didn't get the ball from him.
The one thing I will say, because Frank Clark Chris Jones, and even Tyrann Mathieu to an extent, they haven't really put up big numbers. They've struggled.
Who on the Chiefs has put up big numbers?
The one thing I will say is some of these smaller name guys that we didn't expect to contribute have Anthony Hitchens, for example. Anthony Hitchens has looked very good the past few weeks. L'Jarius Sneed may be
been all right.
The best rookie cornerback. Take away the collarbone injury. He's probably the best rookie cornerback right now. Javarius, they've both been pretty solid.
Yeah, I just need more hits on the quarterback.
He's
hits.
Yeah.
But again,
it's the big name guys.
Well,
no, but I'm saying
we're not getting our money's worth right now.
But who do you think? Who would you expect to turn it around? Some of the rookies, or do you expect Chris Jones? I can trust Chris Jones to turn it around. I expect that.
He needs to.
Well, here's the thing. It has to start at first. It's got to be Chris Jones and Frank Clark because that's where it's going to have to start from. The thing is, just like Leabo just said, yeah, we expect him, but see, this is a guy that had 15 and a half sacks last year.
Well, and Frank Clark didn't have many early last year, got better later, and I thought maybe he got one against the Panthers.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, all right, maybe that's going to start something. Nothing.
Yeah. Oh well, and Chris Jones in Sunday's game, the only highlight that you see of Chris Jones is him getting in Tom Brady's face,
which is fun, but they're not batting balls down. They're not blowing plays up in the backfield on run plays. And
Tyrann only gets an interception because it bounces off of Dan Sorensen's hand. So, I mean, look, I understand he wants to get into it with people on Twitter, but I'm like, bro, you was gifted an interception. Like, your play has not been stellar these last few weeks. I know you're talking about being the landlord and collecting rent, but, man, you didn't collect the rent against the Raiders.
When Breeland, Hitchens, and Tershawn Wharton were your three best defensive players, that's a problem.
Think about this. The last 3 games, they've won by small margins, all of them. Okay. First game, the defense got put on the field with very small amount of time left, but the Panthers still got a field goal attempt off. Now, it was 68 yards, all right? So he wasn't going to make it, but that game was way closer than you wanted. In the Raiders game, the offense won the game, and there was a little bit of time left for Derek Carr, and they were able to get a pick. So did they seal that game? Maybe not. I don't think Derek Carr was going to get the ball down the field. I know that if the Chiefs didn't get a first down, and there was, whether it was 2.5 minutes to go because they didn't get a first down and they ended up getting 3 first downs, or if they didn't pick it up on the last play and there was 35 seconds or 40 seconds to go, which one of us didn't think there would be a legitimate field goal attempt at least by the Bucs to win the game? I don't think the Chiefs defense was going to stop them. So the Chiefs offense stayed on the field, and that's what won that game for them, because I'm pretty sure had they had to punt the ball, especially the way Townsend was punting, it might not have had to go very far to get a field goal attempt. I had about 1% confidence that the Chiefs defense was going to stop them from at least getting a decent field goal attempt. I'm not saying they would have made it, but it wouldn't have been a 68-yarder like, what's that guy's name, that cat for
Joey Sly.
Joey Sly. It was going to be like a legit field goal attempt for the Bucs had they had to punt it away. So that's why I was like, Pat Mahomes with his legs, a couple of nice runs from Clyde, and then the big catch by Tyreek at the end. That's what won that game.
I'll let Sterling go before I jump in.
But wouldn't you say, though, if we went into this game, because I think we may be giving the defense almost too hard of a time, because if you hear me out. If you went into this game and said, okay, you give up 24 points to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, would you take that?
Sure, you'd take it.
I think almost anyone in Chiefs Kingdom would take that. And I think that's why I say we may be giving the Chiefs defense too hard of a time. Yes, we're not seeing any production from Chris Jones or Frank Clark, but you still only give up 24 points. You will take that against a top 5 offensive team in the NFL, top 5?
They're decent.
But I guess the problem that I have is that, one, yes, we give up – I wouldn't have a problem with giving up 24 points if we're already up 28-0. Again, I blame Andy Reid for being too conservative after being up 17-0. Because, again, some of the play calling is questionable. And people say, well, you're only questioning because it didn't work. Well, had it worked, we wouldn't be having this discussion. We'd be having, and it's not a matter of whether or not you cover the spread for me. It's just how the offense looked. You get down there, fourth, I guess it's 3rd and 1 from inside the 1-yard line. I mean, I understand doing trick plays, but you don't do it on the opening drive. I mean, you kind of line up smash.
Well, that's one of the good things about Andy Reid. He lets these guys come up with these things. They love him for it. So there are so many coaches out there who are like, I'm going to do it my way or the highway, blah, blah, blah. Those guys, the players don't like playing for those guys. All these guys love playing for Andy. I don't mind that play call. I mind the fact that there are two options on the play.
I don't mind the play call, but you can call it later on in the game, too.
Two options on the play. The one's the easy one. You just run it in. And then the other one, he made the hard decision and tried to throw it over a guy. That's on Travis Kelce. The play call was fine, I think. Maybe not in the first drive of the game, but if not, then when? I mean, they probably have it dialed up. It's got to be, at the 2-yard line and not third down. I don't think they'd call that play on third down. That's got to be, you got another shot to do something.
Well, again, like I said, the issue that I have is that it's when you caught it. It's open and drive versus just line up and just get the ball in. Because the way
they don't really have that.
The Chiefs don't do that, though.
Well, that's the problem. That's the problem.
But hold on, but that also goes to the fact that I said, I know you trying to get a lot out of this rookie, but when you got in the goal line,
it's the offensive line. I told you.
Yeah,
you have Derrick Henry back there. It's not going to matter if he's getting hit 4 yards.
How many times they run the ball, trying to run the ball down the Texans' throat on opening night, and they couldn't get it in from the 2-yard line? That's not their game. They're not any good at it.
But you also didn't have Le'Veon.
It doesn't matter. A running back
Le'Veon didn't play the first drive. You know that, see?
When Ndamukong Suh is hitting you 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, you're not getting by it.
Hold on.
Le'Veon, Derrick Henry, Walter Payton, it doesn't matter.
Le'Veon did not lose any yardages Sunday against behind that offensive line. He made positive yards on all of his touches. Yeah. So I trust Le'Veon as a professional enough to run, where he's not like Clyde, where he runs into the back of your lineman and then tries to squirt his way through. He at least can pause and see if the line is closed, he can bounce back or bounce inside or out.
Why would you want to take the ball out of the best player in the NFL's hands?
I agree with you there.
Well, if it's only going to give me 3 points, then I take my chances running the ball in. I mean, because again,
you're taking the ball out of the best player in the NFL's hand. Who won the game?
Hold on. Who won the game? Took the ball out of his hands because you gave the ball up to Tyreek, who gave it up to Travis.
Fair.
So you took the ball out of his hands.
We can agree there, but my point is, let Mahomes do what Mahomes does. He's the best player in the NFL for a reason. Trust him. You trust him on 1st and 10. You trust him on 3rd and 17. Why not trust him on 4th and inches?
Well, you did because you punted the ball, didn't you?
I'm talking about on the
opening drive. Yeah, they just kicked the point. I mean, I think honestly, in his heart of hearts, Andy said, "I let you run your play, and you didn't work. We're going to kick these points." But
that being said, again, and I do have problems with the defense. Of course, you give up a touchdown on 4th and 3 to Terrell Jones in that game. Again, to me, the game just never should have been that close for it to come down to 27-24 and depend on the offense to get a first down to clinch the game. It never should have been that close, especially with how the opening quarter looked with Tyreek going wild for 200+ yards receiving and Patrick 359 yards in the first half. Again, when you get stats like that, you're on pace to just shatter NFL records. And then at the end of the game, you're sitting there questioning about, okay, you had all these wonderful stats, but you only had a 3-point win. That's a problem.
Sorensen's missed tackle on Ronald Jones was huge. That was one of the biggest backbreakers, as well as the Chiefs were driving, and then it was a strip sack. Yeah. Those two plays, in my mind, were the two that really stand out where the tide just turned.
And then, of course, twice the Chiefs intercepted Tom Brady's second half and don't even convert on it. You just, And then, of course, the penalties. We talked about it last week in Vegas. I asked Patrick about the 10 penalties. How did he clean that up? He says, obviously, players got to take responsibility for it. They come right back and get 10 penalties again the following week.
Yeah, bad ones, too.
Yeah, I mean, three holding calls in a row.
Well, Leabo, what do you think? This is frustration bubbling over for Frank Clark. Wouldn't you say? I mean, this is just.
Oh, well, you could tell Andy was frustrated because he referred to him as number 55.
And the thing with Frank Clark is he's really not getting double teamed that much. No, everyone loves to say, "Oh, he gets double teamed a lot." If you've looked, he's a lot of one-on-ones, and he's just not winning.
And they've moved him around. It's just not working right now. He's going to keep fighting, though. I know that. So. We'll see if it gets any better.
So I do want to ask, based off of last night's game where the Seahawks won 23-17 and didn't cover somebody's $500,000 bet, it wasn't me, people. I can promise you that wasn't me. That being the case, and I posted this last night, I believe Doug Peterson should be gone. Now, I know he won a Super Bowl. That was 3 years ago. But he should be gone because he and Carson Wentz are not working out together. Carson has too big of a contract where
it's a mess. Philly's a mess.
You just cannot unload. Unless now, if I'm correct, this is Carson Wentz's 5th year. Am I correct? or is this the first year of his?
He's got a new deal. Yes, I mean, if they cut him, it's like $9 million in dead money, and who wants to trade for him?
That's what. But I think a team, you're not getting anything for him, but I think you get out from the contract. I think a team would trade for him.
It doesn't mean everyone would. There could be someone out there who's
seventh rounder, and it's a money deal.
Yeah, it's if they've got a lot of cap space, need a younger quarterback. I think he's a talented guy. I don't think he's 100% healthy. He's never going to be what he once was because he hurt his knee. But yeah, it's a mess right there right now. In Philadelphia, they don't care about that he won the Super Bowl. Andy Reid coached there for 15 years, went to 5 NFC Championship games, went 8-8 and 4-12, and got fired. So
who gets fired first? Matt Nagy, who won Coach of the Year,
could be the same day,
or Doug Peterson, who won a Super Bowl.
Could be the same day.
It could be the day after the last game of the year.
Yeah, now, Monday.
If you talking about time, I mean, I don't know. I guess Philly because they're an hour ahead. But
what time is
it? That's what I can say.
Does this hurt in any Eric Bieniemy based on seeing the last two? High profile.
No. One of them won the Super Bowl, and the other one went to the playoffs. So.
Well, here's the thing: both of them were both quarterback gurus, and we saw what they did with their quarterbacks. So now, granted, when they drafted Carson Wentz, was that before or after Doug Peterson got there?
I think it was before, right?
I think it might
assume before.
Yeah, I think it might have been before, but. He won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles, and then, of course, the next year in the playoffs, Nick Foles was the one that kind of brought him back again before they. And
then Nick Foles has gotten 2 contracts and not been any good. So Nick Foles is a weird guy. Yeah. He's a weird guy.
Is Kirk Cousins like the souped-up version of Nick Foles?
Maybe. Nick Foles has played. I mean, he played on 4 teams in 4 years, or something, wasn't it? Or it was like he was with the Eagles, then he was with the Rams,
Chiefs,
and then he was with the Chiefs. And then he was back with the Eagles.
Jacksonville,
Chicago. And now he's in Chicago. He's been everywhere. And Jacksonville gave him big money.
Like it was like $55 million or $75 million for 3 years.
But the problem was he couldn't make it out the game because the Chiefs put him out. And, they broke his
Either way, but whatever. The point is this. It's just what it is. Yeah. I mean, he's – I'm not saying he's a good guy, bad guy, or whatever. He came in when Alex Smith was hurt and won a game for the Chiefs, and he did that, and he won the Super Bowl. He's done some nice things, but – he has gotten some contracts places, and it hasn't turned into anything. And he's always going to have a ring, and he's got a lot of money, and he's going to be a hero in Philadelphia. But what did he do for the Bears? He won a game or two, and he's been bad.
Trubisky, I think, is back in.
Trubisky's back in.
You're getting benched for him.
Now, correct. Now, again, I'm just thinking about the time frame. Nagy got there after Trubisky
drafted him.
Yeah, so he's
same thing. The who was the Eagles coach? Well, was it stinking? No, Chip Kelly wasn't still there.
Yeah, it was Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly, DeMarco Murray, baby.
Yeah, it was.
2016 season, was he their coach?
I think Chip Kelly was the head coach then.
Because Wentz got drafted in 16.
What did you say?
So remember the Wildcat was a thing in the NFL?
Oh, yeah. I remember the movie. Goldie Hawn, Wesley Snipes. Yeah, I remember that movie back in 1980.
Here's the deal. You need quarterbacks. I mean, that's the game. You got to have quarterbacks. They got to be good players. And, I mentioned Andy Reid. I was looking this up earlier today because for his beginning of his tenure from day one, they didn't play Donovan McNabb right away, but he had Donovan McNabb for a decade. All right. And then it was like Donovan McNabb was fine, right? Donovan McNabb had a couple of really good years, but he was not elite for a long time. And then Andy kind of just pieced it together with whoever. I mean, it was like, here's Kevin Cobb, Mike Vick. They had Vince Young on their team. I mean, he was doing whatever. And when he got fired? With all that. Because they didn't have Donovan McNabb isn't a Hall of Famer, but he was a franchise quarterback. Yeah. Right? And you need to have that. And what's happened now in some of these places, like you think you just get number 2 overall, you think you have a franchise quarterback. Well, you know what? He's not. He's just not that good. So that's not going to work for Nagy. And Wentz looks like a franchise quarterback, looked like it. He was playing at an MVP level before he got hurt. And then they gave him the deal, which that's on them. You shouldn't have given him the big deal. He's not the one who won the Super Bowl for you, right? They did that, and now they're going to have to pay the piper on it.
They almost felt by guilt that they almost had to give them a fifth-year option.
But you can't. That's on them.
No, how much?
The Bill Belichick method works in that situation. Don't feel guilty. If you see decline or if you don't think he's your guy, get out from underneath it.
Yeah, but it's one thing after 18, 19 years with one quarterback.
I'm not even saying the quarterback. I'm just saying, as a general rule, they've not necessarily
They
paid.
just don't like to pay people, though.
They paid some guys.
No, they
David
paid
Gilmore.
Well, they were kind of forced into paying Gilmore, but in essence, because Tom Brady took that pay cut, they use that to say, hey, if you can take a pay cut, you can take a pay cut. So they really don't like to pay, market value.
Doug Peterson was there. He was there when they drafted. He was there in 16.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. He was there in 16. That's when they drafted.
And then Nagy was 17, or was he 18?
He
Chicago?
was
17.
Yeah, he was 17 after the Tennessee loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, he left the day after we lost to the Tennessee Titans and got called out on it. I do want to play a little general manager stuff because you brought up a good point about quarterbacks and organizations, and I think that a lot of that has to be discussed in more detail. Let's take a quick time out. You're listening to Darren and Sterling here on ESPN Kansas City.
Hi, I'm Jordan, president of Digital Lagoon, a web and design agency. This year, I'm proud to be celebrating 25 years in business. Here at Digital Lagoon, we can provide you with a strategic digital marketing strategy. With the implementation of social media, SEO, and online advertising, these programs are proven to improve your website traffic. Let us collaborate with you to structure a plan and cut through the digital noise. Check us out at lagoon.com. That's lagoon.com.
Are you looking for unique sporty clothing and merchandise that makes you stand out from the crowd? Do you love Kansas City sports teams? The Cherry Company designs and creates fashion-forward gear for athletes, avid sports fans, and everything in between. Check out our famous Casey Mahomes denim jacket at cherrysportsgear.com or find it in stores in the Made in KC, Lee Summit, or Plaza location. Sport Styles, Sport Local, Sport Cherry. Want a 20% off discount? Mention 810 Sports in store or use code 810 online. Stay on top and visit cherrysportsgear.com today.
Do you want to live in an exciting, walkable location in City Center, Lenexa? The Lofts at 87th and 435 offer 65 boutique apartments, heated parking garage, ultra-high-end finishes, and great amenities such as a pool, hot tub, fitness center, pet spa, bike repair.
Follow the leader. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Cross back, it's Kelsey looking to throw it, and he does. It's knocked down by Davis.
My God, man. Me and Travis made it up. We called it Black Pearl because we're bringing it to the Bucks and the Pirates of the Caribbean and everything like that. And I talked him into it. Coach Reed for sure told him if he can run it first.
Anyways, yeah, we'll get the next one.
Sports Radio 810 WHB.
If you have sleep apnea and struggle using CPAP, it can leave you feeling tired, irritable.
That's the cutest puppy I've ever seen.
Fatigued.
Can someone please help me lift this tissue?
Forgetful.
Who put this banana in the toaster?
You did?
Oh, yeah.
And even impact your long-term health. Fortunately, now there's Inspire, a sleep apnea treatment that works inside your body with just the click of a remote. That's right, a button. Inspire is a small device placed during a same-day outpatient procedure. Simply click the button on the Inspire remote before you fall asleep. As you sleep, Inspire keeps you breathing normally and sleeping peacefully. No mask, no hose, just sleep. Inspire, sleep apnea innovation. Inspire is not for everyone. Talk to your doctor to see if it's right for you and review important safety information at inspiresleep.com.
Sporting Kansas City take on Minnesota United in the Western Conference semifinals of the MLS Cup playoffs on Thursday night at 7:30, and you can hear all of the action live.
15.
Kansas City 94.5 FM with the pregame coverage beginning at 7 o'clock. Sporting KC versus Minnesota United Thursday night. Coverage begins at 7 o'clock on ESPN 94.5 FM. Brought to you by Michelob Ultra. Find your fit.
Back here on Darren and Sterling.
Tempted. This was an easy one.
It's easy.
I wanted some harder squeeze songs for you, but
I don't know if I know a lot of good harder squeeze songs.
yeah, and see, you were 0 for 2 last time we did it, and so I felt a little bad. I give you a cookie.
Tempted. We're back here on Darren Australia on ESPN Kansas City, 94.5 FM, 1510 a.m. We were, of course, discussing, of course, the Eagles and a few of these other teams, but
I was tempted that wasn't the Eagles.
Yeah,
it's a joke, a music joke.
I've had a long day, and I hate the Eagles, man.
You just hate the Eagles, period.
All the Eagles.
But this being the case, we talk about, places like the Jets, and I think we had a lengthy discussion yesterday about where Eric Bieniemy could land as a head coach, and on our red hour, Steve and I, we were discussing last night. Just want to get you all's thoughts about it. A couple of them feel like Eric Bieniemy should stick around for 2 more years, and I'm like, no, he needs to leave now while the iron is hot, because it's not going to be any hotter than what it is this year, especially if the Chiefs can win back-to-back Super Bowls. We know there's an opening in Houston. There will be an opening in Los Angeles with the Chargers. I don't think he goes there just out of respect for Andy Reid.
Detroit.
Atlanta. I'm pretty sure New York had better have an opening. The New York Jets should have an opening at the end of the season as well. If you're Eric Bieniemy, you might have the pick of the litter, but I keep trying to tell people you're also going to have to get rid of the GM who's probably there, and you're going to have to pretty much implode the team or implode the organization from within, and the owner is going to have to give. If I'm Eric Bieniemy, he's not going to be the highest paid coach, but he needs to have at least a 6 or 7 year contract like a Matt Rule or the coach at the New York Giants.
This isn't college football.
Well, I'm sorry. The guy in Carolina has one. The guy in New York has one.
Joe Judge doesn't have a 6 or 7 year contract.
Yes, he does.
Well, they'll all get fired, whatever. But if you're asking me where I want to go, if I'm EB, Anthony Lynn has a job. Okay, now, but he probably shouldn't. That would be the job I would like to have. Now, I understand it's in the division, and maybe you don't do it. But at this point, you haven't gotten a job offer from anyone the last 2 years, so you've gone out for interviews. If they offered you the job, you take it. Forget about in the, division or not. That's where he played. He's getting a paycheck now from the Chiefs. Why would he go coach for a team that played against who drafted him? I mean, you got to forget all that stuff.
Well, that was San Diego, not Los Angeles, but I mean,
still, it's a franchise. He was a Bolt,
Houston would be a pretty good spot because you already have your franchise quarterback in place.
That would be the second place I'd take, but they got nothing else. They got no draft picks. They got nothing.
And then Detroit, I actually think a lot of people are throwing under the rug. Detroit, hate on them all you want, but you're not going into the worst situation.
It's not the worst situation.
The reason why is you still have Matt Stafford, and you get to decide, are you going to ride him out for 3-4 more years?
And there'll be high draft picks, things like that. I think that wouldn't be bad.
And less expectations. Then Houston's going to have pretty high expectations of make the playoffs right away. You go to Detroit, you go 7-9, you're looking pretty good.
Nah, I don't know. Ask Jim Caldwell about that. He went to the playoffs twice.
But that was different. He's been there for a while.
I think maybe they learned their lesson.
Yeah.
With you gotta just who do you think you are? I get a little bit that they'd taken a little step backwards with Caldwell, and they were in the prime, of Matthew Stafford, and they made a bad hire. They made an awful hire. Matt Patricia didn't endear himself with the fans, the media, anyone. He's a jerk. He's a Belichick tree jerk. And Bill Belichick, being a jerk, was fine when you won 5, 6 Super Bowls and went to 9 or whatever. That's fine when you do that. But when you don't win games, you get fired. And Matt Patricia was a jerk. Remember, Charlie Weiss was a jerk at Notre Dame. He's a jerk at Kansas. You don't win any games. And Matt Patricia was a jerk. Josh McDaniels was kind of a little jerk in Denver. He didn't win anything. And then he went and took a job and took it back. I mean, Romeo Crennel's a nice guy. And
to his credit,
he's in that tree of some sort, right, of the Belichick tree. But he's had a few opportunities here and there. And I don't know, maybe he'll win enough. He'll just get this job. I don't think he's going to get the job.
I don't think he wants it, to be honest.
Yeah, if I'm Romeo, I'll just go be the DC and make some money, do what you want somewhere, But
what about Atlanta?
Atlanta's not bad. It's kind of similar. Matt Ryan is a little bit younger than Stafford. or a little older than Stafford.
I think he's older.
I think he's 35.
Yeah, he's a couple years older than Stafford, but he's kind of a similar guy. I mean, he made a Super Bowl and he won an MVP, and they have a lot of weapons down there. Some of them are getting a little more aged, but I think Atlanta would be a fun city, and I think EB would be embraced in Atlanta. That'd be a good place, and you'd be away from, playing Andy twice a year or something like that. I think if you're looking at like the division, I also like that a little bit too with Detroit, because I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to be around forever. I know that's a big bad beast that you got to play twice a year, but the Bears don't look any good, and the Vikings are just meh. I mean, that's not like there's some big set of troubles. If you get yourself in the NFC East, which maybe there's not going to be jobs open there because they all got fired last year. That's the division.
I can see a scenario where Mike McCarthy might be out.
I would never want to work there.
No, Dallas would be a nightmare.
Yeah, I'm not working at that place. If I'm Eric Bieniemy, I would rather be the OC in Kansas City than the head coach in Dallas.
Or New York, right?
No, New York.
Dallas way worse.
Yeah.
No. But I'm saying, but would you rather be the OC in Kansas City or the head coach in New York?
For the Jets?
The Jets.
I'd take the Jets job.
Really?
Yeah.
You'll get time. I think you would get, if you are any sort of coach, you're getting at least, I would say, 4 years.
You get a little bit of time. But Jerry Jones is just a freaking nutbag, man. I wouldn't want to be a head coach in Washington or Snyder, coach for Jerry Jones. That's like the top two coaches. I'm like, owners. I'm like, I don't want any part of being at those places.
Do you guys think that it was almost a blessing in disguise for Eric Bieniemy to not get a job last year?
Maybe.
Because last year's options
wasn't that many openings.
That's what I'm saying, because last year his openings were the Browns, the Giants, and then
I wouldn't
have the Panthers.
I would not have had a problem with him going to Carolina. I mean, not Carolina, but to Cleveland because of the weapons that you had up there and the potential that you could do with Baker Mayfield. But
it seems like no one lasts in Cleveland because, one, there's always so much hype compared to what the actual team is.
Yeah, it's just a bad spot. They're going to eventually maybe, and they could make the playoffs this year. They're 7-3. They're not very good.
No,
they're not very good. Okay, but they're going to get to win some of these games, and if they do that, they'll make the playoffs. And if they found some way to win a playoff game, what's the guy's name up there? Stefanski. A hero.
Yeah.
I mean, they won a playoff game in forever. So, but Jacksonville's another spot too that's going to be open. They're going to fire Marone, but I don't like that quarterback situation. And the owner is toxic down there. I mean, the GM's going to be gone though. Everything's going to be gone. Think about that. A couple of years ago, they were like 5 minutes away from going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, against the Patriots.
I mean, they kind of got jobbed on a call. I mean, they almost, could have done that.
2010, I believe.
Yeah,
that defense. All of a sudden, everyone regressed.
They had just all left. Like Jalen Ramsey, he's kind of a jerk. I'm out. I don't want to be here.
That was a Tom Coughlin. But again, to the Chiefs' credit, and I hate giving them credit, but to the Chiefs' credit and Clark Hunt's credit, that after Romeo Crennel, they kind of blew everything up, bringing Andy Reid in and then bringing Dorsey in, and then kind of see how that marriage would work out.
It took him when Clark Hunt took over for his dad. It took a lot of chutzpah for him to fire Carl Peterson, because Carl Peterson had been here and was kind of like he was like more like a father figure type guy to Clark. Oh, I'm Carl Peterson. I'm the 3 titles. General manager, president, and CEO, and Clark Hunt was a kid, really, when Carl Peterson took that job. So it was probably not easy to say, yeah, we're going to fire you. You're gone now, okay? So when he did that, he made what people thought was the right hire. Scott Pioli was this hotshot guy with New England. And then they made a mistake by waiting for Todd Haley. But they had this connection with Haley because Haley and Pioli knew each other because of Bill Parcells and all this crap, and that was a bad hire. Yeah. Scott Pioli could have been successful if he had hired a different head coach, I think, because those guys hated each other about 6 months into it, and it was a mess. So Clark Hunt said, all right, I messed that up. I got to fire Todd Haley when they went up and lost to the Jets, and I think he made a mistake by hiring Romeo Crennel for a whole year, but I think he knew that this was going to be something that if it didn't work.
Was that the 2-14 season? Or that
was in the 2012.
I think he was here for 2 years.
1 year. Well, he finished the year. They beat the Packers.
Yeah, that was a 2-14.
They beat the undefeated Packers, and you're like,
Then they draft Eric Fisher.
Yeah, so then they hired Romeo because the players all liked him. It's a bad reason to hire a coach, but it works out.
He was the interim coach, wasn't he? He wasn't the
interim, but then he got a whole year.
Yeah,
he got a whole year after that. And they didn't win any games.
But he also had the year where you had Javon Belcher in that situation.
All that stuff. That was all 2012. I mean, all those things happened when he was the head coach. And they didn't win any games. And they ended up getting the number 1 pick. But they wouldn't have, if you take this whole thing back, they wouldn't have been able to hire Andy Reid the year before because he hadn't been fired from Philadelphia yet. So it all works out somehow.
Yeah.
But who would you have hired? We looked this up before. It's like all the people that they could have hired instead of hiring Todd Haley, none of those guys that year who got hired were any good at all. It's a whole bunch of nothing who got hired and after I guess it'd be the 2009 offseason. You go back and Google up who got hired in 2009, awful. None of them were any good. Now, they were better than Todd Haley. And that was when Josh McDaniels got hired. Todd Haley got hired. There were several others. You're like, that guy was a head coach, guys?
Yeah.
So it all works out. That's all history. What we know now is the Chiefs have Andy Reid, who was very successful in Kansas City before they got Patrick Mahomes, right? They've been to the playoffs almost every year, won a playoff game for the first time since, forever. And then they got Patrick Mahomes, and it's all good now.
Eric Bieniemy gets a job at the end of the season. Matt Nagy, I'm predicting, as well as Doug Peterson, get fired. Does Andy have the chutzpah to bring either one of them back to Kansas City?
If there's a spot, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, if there's a spot. I mean, like if EB leaves, then there's going to be a spot to be the OC, right? But if he doesn't leave, then I don't know what would you have him do.
No. I'm with you on that.
Yeah,
but
they're not going to fire someone on their staff to bring one of these guys back.
No. That's what I'm saying. If Eric Bieniemy leaves to go to gets a head gig, but
it might give.
But what would be the justification in bringing one of them back?
It's old friend. Andy calls all the plays anyways. Doesn't matter. They're just he's giving a check to a guy, right?
Let me cussle. He'll give me a check. That's
seriously. You can go stand there and he says, "Call this play," and you read it out. That's what the job is a lot of times.
And it makes you feel good if you bring in Peterson, who is a former Super Bowl winner, winning head coach, or you bring in Matt Nagy, who won Coach of the Year. I think both those guys, if they get fired, not a head coaching position, but they'll find a job very easily in the NFL.
I wouldn't bring them back to Kansas City because one, people are going to be like, well, why are you bringing them back if they couldn't even succeed as a head coach at their spots?
That's fine. I agree with you, but I think both those guys, they have the one thing on their resume, and they'll get a job somewhere as an offensive coordinator for a team, and it'll fire the fan base up because they have that on their resume and they think they're getting some stud coach.
I guess. I mean,
it's the same thing when teams bring in old players who were stars in the NFL who are no longer stars. It still gets your fan base fired up because you know why? They used to be studs, and you still have that glimpse of, oh, but what if this? They did this before. Can they do it again?
I know. That's why I said you give Le'Veon the ball on the 1 yard line and see what happens.
Le'Veon Bell is in my opinion, again,
he's not.
My point is, though, he's not what he once was. Can we agree there?
Oh, he's definitely not.
Can we also agree that this team is not built to run the football?
On trying to get a first down. I
probably so, yeah.
I trust him more than I would.
I'd still rather have Patrick Mahomes roll out and throw it 2 yards to someone. That's 2020 football.
I would too, as long as he doesn't do a quarterback sneak, as somebody suggested. I wouldn't do that. Let's take a quick time. When we come back, let's look at Sporting Kansas City on primetime television as well as preview tonight's Champions Classic. Keep it locked in to Darren and Sterling right here on ESPN Kansas City.
In these trying times, Kansas City Credit Union knows how important cash flow is in your household. With rates near all-time lows, now's the time to take action. Free up some cash by lowering your monthly car loan payment when you refinance your auto loan with Kansas City Credit Union. And as a bonus,
it's the
payments for
no we can do.
Visit kansascitycreditunion.com/810sports for more information. Kansas City Credit Union, your path to financial freedom.
It's here. Black Friday every day at Menards. These amazing deals last through December 6th. Get power performance with a Masterforce Drill and Impact Driver Kit for $119. A 5-in-1 multi-position ladder is just $109. Power your devices with a 30-pack of AC Delco double or AAA batteries, only $2.99. Menards Black Friday deals are good through December 6th. In-store only while supplies last.
Save big money at Menards.
If you have sleep apnea and struggle using CPAP, it can leave you feeling tired, irritable,
That's the cutest puppy I've ever seen.
fatigued,
Can someone please help me lift this tissue?
forgetful.
Who put this banana in the toaster?
You did?
Oh, yeah.
And even impact your long-term health. Fortunately, now there's Inspire, a sleep apnea treatment that works inside your body with just the click of a remote. That's right, a button. Inspire is a small device placed during a same-day outpatient procedure. Simply click the button on the Inspire remote before you fall asleep. As you sleep, Inspire keeps you breathing normally and sleeping peacefully. No mask, no hose, just sleep. Inspire, sleep apnea innovation. Inspire is not for everyone. Talk to your doctor to see if it's right for you and review important safety information at InspireSleep.com.
Are you using your backyard as a second living room? Don't let all that space go to waste. Now is the perfect time to have All Weather Decks out to design a deck or patio and have it ready for you in early spring. That's right. When the warm weather's back, you're on your deck, patio, screened-in porch. All Weather Decks is a 22-time winner of the Angie's List Super Service Award. Has probably helped out one of your neighbors. Click on the map link on All Weather Decks website and give All Weather Decks a call today at 913-206-1974 or go to allweatherdecks.net and relax.
Are you looking for unique sporty clothing and merchandise that makes you stand out from the crowd? Do you love Kansas City sports teams? The Cherry Company designs and creates fashion-forward gear for athletes, avid sports fans, and everything in between. Check out our famous Casey Mahomes denim jacket at cherrysportsgear.com or find it in stores in the Made in KC, Lee Summit, or Plaza location. Sport styles, sport local, sport Cherry. Want a 20% off discount? Mention 810 Sports in store or use code 810 online. Stay on top and visit cherrysportsgear.com today.
Have you been considering a career change or the next step in your career? Then you're ready to pivot. MNU School of Professional and Graduate Studies dedicated faculty will help you pivot into your
Y'all at Leabo got 15.
classes. Set your course. MNU will guide you. Spring classes begin soon, so apply now and learn about our 20% tuition discount. Pivot into new opportunities and pivot with purpose. Visit mnu.edu/pivot.
Welcome back to Darren and Sterling here on ESPN Kansas City, 94.5 FM, 15:10 a.m. Again, housekeeping notes. Tomorrow we'll be off. Tomorrow we'll be playing the live football game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll be back on Thursday. Leabo's still with us tonight. You can hear the first game, I believe, right here on ESPN Kansas City, and the second game of the doubleheader, the Champions Classic, KU Kentucky, over on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Leabo, of course, the Champions Classic usually opens up, kicks off college basketball. Obviously, because of COVID, it was pushed to tonight. The game for Duke and Michigan State, I believe, is being played on Duke's campus at Cameron Indoor Stadium. And then, of course, KU Kentucky is being played at Bankers Life Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana. Your thoughts on how or what to expect for tonight's doubleheader action?
I mean, I would expect Kansas to win the game. I think, Kentucky, Richmond's pretty good. They lost the other day at home to them. Kansas lost to Gonzaga. Gonzaga is very good. And I think we know anything about Bill Self's teams, they get a little bit better pretty quickly. And
very quickly.
I would think they're probably going to win this game. I don't know what to think about Duke and Michigan State. I haven't seen much of anything from them, so I don't know what to think there. This is a weird one, though. Kansas has been in Indianapolis since Sunday night. You're supposed to not go places and
like the day before,
or the day of.
They're chilling.
You know, I mean, in this COVID times or whatever, like Sporting KC, we were flying on game day and coming back, not even spend the night in a hotel. Kansas has been hanging around in Indianapolis since Sunday.
Speaking of Sporting KC again, they were supposed to be. I was probably.
I'm just a little upset that you didn't even guess the song.
That was "Ride Like the Wind," and it's a guy's name, or is it? It's not Seals and Crofts.
Close, but no.
It's a
same genre.
Yeah, it's yacht rock is what it is.
I'll give you a hint. Micah McDonald sings in the background.
Yeah, it's a long way to go to make it to the border of Mexico. It's just a guy's name.
Yeah,
like the wind.
They got like a pelican as the album
like
cover.
The wind. Tell me his first name.
Well, Christopher
Cross.
Yeah, Christopher Cross. Yeah.
I just lost 45 seconds of my life just seeing that.
You're learning. You're learning. It's yacht rock.
The giddiness that you all had trying to figure this out is the joy that I just felt.
You just got it though. You love it. See,
do you like Michael McDonald?
I don't know who that is.
You know Michael McDonald.
I don't know.
Don't waste his time. He wants to talk about sports for a second.
Well, why do
I
hold on. You just like people I know. Tell me what I don't. I don't know the guy. If I knew, I would be like, yeah, I know Michael McDonald. I don't know. I barely know Ronald McDonald.
You ever see the movie 40-Year-Old Virgin?
No.
Okay. You need to see that movie because there's a funny part in there because
Yeah.
they keep playing a Michael McDonald concert on there over and over.
Okay. It's
you know his voice. You hear his voice. You go, and someone said that's him. You go, oh, I hear that voice.
It's
all the
like
time.
every single '90s song he's the background singer in.
He's just in them. Go ahead.
Okay.
What are we talking about?
We were talking about. Well, Kansas. They play every other day this weekend. I know it says they play Thursday and they play
Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Yeah.
Saturday as well. So of course we'll be playing those games over on Sports Radio 810 WHB as well. Sporting Kansas City though, they got promoted this week. They were scheduled to play Wednesday night. I was scheduled to go out there for that game, but now that the game has been moved to Thursday night prime time on Fox.
Big Fox.
Big Fox. So
that's good for the league.
They moved
it's
to the
not
big
real
leagues.
good for Sporting because if they win, that's a whole other day. They don't get to recover for the next game because it's going to be on Monday. But it's great for the league to have the game on Fox. And this is all because the NFL couldn't get everything worked out with the Ravens because Ravens was played last Thursday, then this Thursday, so it's all messed up. So they got this hole to play and said, well, let's put MLS on it because they were going to be on FS1, part of the same property. So that's good for them. It's a big game for them. It's a big opportunity, obviously. They're home. They know they get to be home the whole rest of the playoffs because of what's happened in the East. So you win this game, win one more, and the MLS Cup is in Kansas City. But as we saw, it was a 1 seed versus 8 seed last time, and it took all they could to win that game. They had a lead, lost the lead, got the lead, lost it, had to go PKs. It's not easy to do. And when these one and dones, this is, I know a lot of fans don't like soccer. It's boring, blah, 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 ties. There ain't no ties in this. And it's desperation because it's only one game. So it's like having a game 7 of whatever.
Here's what I tell people. I don't really care for soccer, but I love Sporting Kansas City. I love going to those games because just the atmosphere. Now, you don't have
now, but they got fans there. They'll have 18% or whatever it is. It is a lot of fun to watch the elimination soccer, and so you just know that if someone gets down, a lot of times you watch a game. Sporting scored; they were up 1-0 9 minutes into the game last time. You may win the game 1-0, but San Jose kept coming, and they scored twice. And then Sporting scored twice. And then you get 3-3 at the end of the regulation. That's crazy, man. That you don't see that in soccer much, but you're getting a lot of things like that in the postseason because it is one and done. So it should be pretty exciting. I think they're better than Minnesota, and they should win the game. They should. They're the 1 seed. They should win this game.
I'm still debating if I go out there to that game because I'm going to be on after the post-game show of both Kansas and the Sporting Kansas City deal. I know Allie is going to be out. I presume she's going to be out at the game. And they called me yesterday about it. I'm like, well, I want to go, but it was on Wednesday. Now it's Thursday, and I just don't know how we're going to line everything. Juggle everything else.
I'm going to be home. That's what I know.
I'll say this though: PKs are one of the coolest things in sports.
Yeah.
In sport, and the fact that how do you say his last name?
Melia.
Oh,
he's the best penalty kick saver.
All three. It's so rare to see that happen.
It's rare to see someone save 1 out of 5, and he saved the first 3.
Yeah.
And I remember we were out there when they won it all in penalty kicks in 2013, and that thing went 11. No, it didn't go 11. It went about 7 or 8 kicks. They had the U.S. Open Cup game that went like 11. But yeah, it's just exciting because everything is happening right there.
Before we get out of here, your thoughts on Sunday's game?
Oh, the Chiefs, they win this game. I mean, they're better.
27-24.
No, they'll score 30-something in this game. They're better than Denver.
Hell, they're 14-point favorites. I am definitely not betting the point spread on them.
And I think Broncos will have quarterbacks back for this game. I would be shocked.
Yeah, they got all
if
three
didn't.
back.
Yeah, no, they can still test positive and be gone. But I think they'll have their quarterbacks back. But, yeah, the Chiefs are a better team. They should win this game. And I expect them to play well. I expect. How about this? A sack
from who? Clark or Jones?
One of them. How about that? I predict one of them gets a sack. Chris, I think they each get a sack.
The running back is not going to count.
Each one of them gets a quarterback sack. Boom.
Wow.
Do they cover the 14-point spread?
You got to quit worrying about gambling, Darren.
I'm just no.
No, they don't. They haven't covered the spread in a month. By the way, covered the spread since they play the Jets.
How far away are we?
I do plus 14 on the
No,
Broncos
don't bet it. It's a bad game. It's a division game.
I
Bad
just
game.
bet them straight up then.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
That's it. What do you win, $1? Bet $100 with $1?
Well, that's why you got to parlay. That's why you got to parlay the bets, man. That's the best way to do it.
We're going to listen to some Michael McDonald after the show, okay?
Yes, sir.
We're going to show him.
All right. Want to thank everyone for tuning in. Want to thank Todd Leabo once again for leaving us with some of his words of wisdom. Again, we'll be off on tomorrow. Make sure you tune in on Thursday. We'll be back. Darren and Sterling right here on ESPN Kansas City, 94.5 FM, 1510 AM. Please wear a mask, social distance, and stay safe.
Another reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo. What is a cash-out refinance? It's doing a cannonball from your porch.
Watch out!
That new car smell. A new college grad